Welcome to Yuno and Kenzo Koga.
Where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Subscribe now and awaken with us.
Have you ever experienced a moment where time seemed to just vanish?
Absolutely.
Where you were so deep into something, an activity, that everything felt, I don't know, utterly fluid,
Yeah.
effortless.
Yeah, totally absorbed. Like the rest of the world just fades away.
Exactly. Well, that intriguing phenomenon, that's precisely what we're going to deep dive into today.
Sounds fascinating.
Our mission really is to unravel this thing called the flow state. You know, that incredible mental space where tasks feel easy, almost automatic, and time just melts away. We're going to look at how it connects with Eckhart Tolle's teachings, his ideas about presence, and what cutting-edge neuroscience has to say.
So bridging that spiritual wisdom with hard science.
Precisely. We want you to get a holistic view, see how these different fields actually align, and crucially, get some practical insights into how you can access this state, maybe even sustain it.
Right. Drawing on Tolle, but also the neurological findings. It's a really interesting intersection.
Okay, so let's start with Tolle. He, like many spiritual thinkers, really hammers home the power of living fully in the now.
Right. That present moment awareness.
Yeah. He argues it's the gateway, the path to inner peace, to clarity, real fulfillment. It sounds quite spiritual, maybe even mystical to some.
It definitely can sound that way. But here's the interesting question. Is it just a spiritual philosophy, or is there something more going on? Can science actually explain this elusive state?
Well, that's where it gets exciting, because neuroscience now has a term, a framework, for something very similar to Tolle's now.
Okay.
They call it the flow state.
Flow. Right.
And when scientists talk about flow, they mean a state of really heightened focus, where your actions feel almost instinctive, effortless, and you're just deeply engaged, totally immersed.
So science is finding a way to describe that feeling Tolle talks about.
Exactly. And this alignment, it tells us something profound, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About the human mind's capacity when you bring together this sort of ancient wisdom and modern science.
It really does. It suggests that the peace and effortless action Tolle describes aren't just, nice ideas. They're potentially accessible states, hardwired into our neurology.
It's like science is validating what spiritual traditions have hinted at for ages.
Precisely. Tolle's message about the present moment lines up remarkably well with these findings. It's not just philosophy. There's a measurable neurological basis for this experience of effortless being.
So, okay, let's get into the brain science a bit. When you're in flow, it's not just a feeling. Your brain is actually operating differently.
Right, correct. We see specific brainwave patterns emerge. Mainly alpha and theta waves become more dominant.
Alpha and theta. Okay, what do those do?
Well, alpha waves are usually linked to deep relaxation,
Yeah.
but here, combined with theta, which are associated more with creativity, insight, problem solving, it creates this really unique state.
Huh. Relaxed and focused.
Kinda, yeah. It seems to help quiet down parts of the prefrontal cortex, the bit responsible for self-monitoring, that inner critic.
Ah, the voice that's always judging or worrying.
Exactly that one. So silencing that allows for deeper immersion, less self-consciousness.
Okay, so brainwaves change.
Uh-huh.
What else happens?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Chemically,
Uh-huh.
your brain gets this flood, like a cocktail, of powerful neurotransmitters. We're talking dopamine, serotonin, endorphins.
The feel-good chemicals, basically.
Pretty much. Dopamine is huge here. It boosts motivation, sharpens focus, makes the task itself feel rewarding.
Okay.
Then you've got serotonin contributing to that sense of well-being, calmness almost. And endorphins, they can create a mild euphoria, mask discomfort.
Wow. So it's a whole chemical symphony going on.
It really is. And this chemical mix doesn't just make things feel effortless. It's a biological process that genuinely optimizes your mental and emotional state. It makes the tasks, physiologically easier to handle.
That's a big shift in thinking, isn't it? From effortless being just a nice idea to seeing it as a real physical state your body enters.
Absolutely. It explains why flow feels so good and why we perform so well in it. Your biology is literally supporting you.
Which brings us neatly to another key part of Tolle's teaching, this idea of dissolving the ego, quieting the mind chatter.
The constant internal monologue.
Yeah. He says surrendering that mental noise, the identification with thought, is absolutely essential for reaching deeper awareness, deeper focus.
It's often the hardest part for people, practically speaking. that constant thinking machine.
It really is. But science actually offers some pretty incredible validation here too, right?
It does. Studies using brain imaging show that during flow states, there's often reduced activity in parts of the prefrontal cortex.
The same area you mentioned earlier, the self-monitoring part.
Exactly. The bit linked to self-awareness, planning, that internal narrative sometimes called the ego center, when that area quiets down.
It literally makes space for more focus, less self-consciousness.
Precisely. Tolle would likely say quieting the ego allows access to the deep I, that core consciousness beneath thought. Neuroscience shows that quieting that specific brain region does seem to enable a state less hindered by fear and self-critique.
So the power of now. It's not just a catchy title. It's deeply connected to how our brains are designed to function optimally when we connect to that deep I.
It seems that way. The more we can consciously inhabit the present, letting go of that egoic mind stuff, the more readily we can slip into flow, unlock that potential.
It's almost like a built-in feature we just need to learn how to activate.
You could say that.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked theory, the why and what. How about the practical side? How can you, listening now, actually access this state more often?
Right, let's get into the how. First things first. Clear goals.
Super important.
Flow really needs direction, a sense of purpose. Doesn't matter if it's a work project, painting, playing music, even, I don't know, organizing a closet. Knowing the objective keeps you immersed.
It gives your focus a target, prevents that mental drifting.
Then, the big one. Eliminate distractions.
Oh, yeah. This is non-negotiable. Seriously, put the phone on airplane mode or even in another room. Find quiet if you can. Close unnecessary tabs on your computer.
Create a bubble, almost.
Exactly, because every ping, every notification, every little interruption just yanks you right out of that state. And it takes real mental energy to get back in.
Okay, so clear goals, minimal distractions. What else? What about internally?
Mindfulness. It's a huge tool here.
How so?
Well, mindfulness is essentially the practice of being present, noticing when your mind wanders, which it will, and gently guiding it back to the task, without judging yourself for drifting.
So it's like training your attention muscle.
That's a great way to put it. You cultivate that mental clarity needed for sustained focus. It builds the foundation for flow.
And there's technology now too, right? Things helping with this.
Yeah, this is a really exciting area. Things like biofeedback and neurofeedback.
How do those work?
Basically, they give you real-time information about what your body or brain is doing. Neurofeedback, for instance, can monitor your brainwaves. It shows you when you're producing more of those alpha or theta waves associated with focus or relaxation, so you learn consciously how to shift your mental state towards one that's more conducive to flow.
Wow, so you can actively train your brain to get into flow.
That's the idea. It's using tech to support this very natural internal process. Pretty fascinating stuff.
Okay, so we've got some tools for getting into flow, but often it feels like this amazing but temporary thing. How do we make it last? How do we sustain that effortless being?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer, maybe unsurprisingly, is consistency. Practice.
Makes sense, like any skill.
Exactly. It's about intentionally weaving these practices into your daily life. Maybe it's regular meditation. Maybe it's dedicating specific times for focused work, really applying that mindfulness, or engaging regularly in a creative hobby that naturally induces flow for you.
So it becomes less about chasing those peak moments and more about cultivating a general state of presence.
Precisely. You gradually build the capacity to live more consistently from that place of flow, rather than just occasionally visiting it.
But life happens, right?
Yeah.
Distractions pop up, you have bad days.
Of course. Setbacks are totally normal. The key isn't to achieve some impossible state of perfect, uninterrupted flow. It's about developing the skill of noticing when you've been pulled away and gently, kindly redirecting yourself back.
Without beating yourself up about it.
Exactly. No judgment, just a gentle return to the present, to the task. It's an ongoing practice, not a final destination.
And as you do this more, as flow becomes more integrated, what happens?
Well, people report all sorts of positive changes. Increased productivity, sure. Enhanced creativity, definitely. But also often just a deeper sense of inner peace and well-being overall.
That sounds pretty transformative.
It can be. And, Tolle takes this even further. He connects this inner state, this flow state born from presence, to how we interact with the world, even how things manifest in our lives.
Ah, okay. Manifestation. Yeah. That's often understood as like wanting something and making it happen.
Right, but Tolle flips that script a bit. He suggests true manifestation isn't about striving from a place of lack or need. It comes from operating from a state of inner fullness, from that connection to presence, to flow, creating from wholeness, not deficiency.
That's a really different perspective.
Yeah.
So not, I need this to be happy, but more like being happy, being present, and seeing what unfolds.
Something like that. He makes this interesting distinction between belief and faith.
Okay.
He says belief is mental. It's accepting an idea as true, maybe a story someone told you, without really knowing it from experience. If you actually knew it, you wouldn't need to just believe it.
Right, you just know.
But faith, for Tolle, isn't mental at all. It's deeper. It's this profound sense of trust, of connection, rooted in your actual being, that deep I he talks about.
So faith comes from experiencing that deeper connection.
Yes. And when you touch that, when you feel rooted in that vastness, that presence, fear tends to dissolve. That lack of fear, that deep inner knowing, is the faith he describes.
Wow. Okay. So how does that connect back to manifestation and flow?
Well, when you operate from that state of faith, that inner fullness, you're not desperately needing things from the outside world to feel complete. You already feel connected, whole.
Because you're connected to that deep I.
Exactly. So you're not acting out of weakness or lack. If you need something desperately, Tolle suggests, you're coming from a place of perceived weakness. But if you're already fundamentally okay, totally present, you can kind of play with external reality.
Play with it.
Yeah, engage with goals and desires without that needy attachment. And paradoxically, when you don't need things in that egoic sense, they often tend to flow towards you more easily.
That's quite counterintuitive to how we usually think about achieving goals.
It really is. And Tolle emphasizes that when things do manifest from this state, there's no personal I that should claim the credit. It's not you doing it. It's consciousness, that deeper intelligence working through you, through the form.
He shares a story about that, doesn't he? About his own life before the power of now became huge.
He does. He talks about being perfectly happy, perfectly content, living as essentially nobody with very little money, writing his book. He apparently loved being invisible. And he's very clear that the later fame and success didn't actually make him any better or fundamentally happier than he was back then.
Because the real fulfillment was already there.
Yeah.
In that connection to presence.
Precisely. That inner state, that connection to the deep I, that's the real deal, the cream, as he puts it. External achievements are like the skimmed milk. Nice, maybe, but secondary.
So the ego wants the credit, wants the external validation.
Always. But when you're truly tapped into that state of flow, of presence, the need for personal credit kind of dissolves. Trying to grab onto it to make it mine would actually diminish the power. It's about realizing you already are complete internally. And from that place, you engage with the world.
It's a profound shift. Realizing well-being isn't dependent on what you get or achieve.
It really is. It changes everything about how you approach life.
So wrapping this up then.
Yeah.
The big takeaway seems to be that this flow state, this effortless being, isn't some weird mystical thing. It's real. It's accessible.
Absolutely. It's a scientifically recognized process, deeply connected to being present. And by blending Tolle's insights with what we know from neuroscience, you really can cultivate more of it.
You can genuinely build a life with more purpose, more peace, and more of that wonderful feeling of effortless action.
Definitely. And maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to ponder. If your true happiness, your deepest fulfillment, really comes from connecting with that deep I within, if it doesn't actually depend on external achievements or getting recognition, how might that change things?
How would that shift your approach to your goals, your ambitions, even just your daily tasks?
Yeah. How might you live differently today, tomorrow, if you knew, truly knew, that your core sense of well-being is already complete right here, right now?
Thanks for watching the Yuno and Kenzo Koga channel. If this video sparked something within you, feel free to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more insights bridging Eastern wisdom and modern life. Until next time, stay present, stay curious, and stay connected.